Wooden and stiff, a movie peters along, with an unremarkable heroine with the emotion of a stick. A few notable scenes save this car from crashing with an adorable tabby, capable of killing any man. The most powerful Avenger with a big weakness, her ability to be human and vulnerable. Her past in tatters, entangled in a mystery box, like a super spy, the life of an outcast hero. Day 12's prompt is a film you hate from your favorite genre. Now, the film I'm going to pick today is not necessarily a film I hate, it was rather disappointing. And my favorite genre I'm going to say is the superhero genre, and the film I'm going to pick today is Captain Marvel. Now, Captain Marvel isn't a terrible movie. There are entertaining moments to it, and it's relatively competently made. Overall, it's a relatively boring movie in my mind. And part of that was coming out after the high of Avengers Infinity War, but part of it was also what this movie actually was. Now, to start off, this movie, yes, did come out with an agenda on each side, and it kind of felt like this movie was dragged down by that agenda a little bit, to the point where you could tell that the filmmakers were trying to make this agenda the key part of this movie, and because of that, they didn't focus as much, I thought, on the narrative of this movie as they should have. And that's a shame, because another movie that kind of came out with that was Wonder Woman, but they really did a great job of focusing on the narrative in Wonder Woman. What detracted Captain Marvel for me was they had, first off, Brie Larson's performance was rather wooden, and I don't know if that was because of her, or because of the direction, or because of the writing. It's just, she didn't quite have the emotion that I wish she had. You know, it was almost like they were afraid to give this character vulnerability. They were definitely trying to make a superhero that little girls could look up to and aspire to. And that's a noble thing, but it's, with this character in particular, it almost seemed like in their mind that because of that, they couldn't have a character that had vulnerability to them, and they almost tried to make her stoic in that regard, and it didn't work for that character. You know, the great thing about Wonder Woman is, while she is really powerful, she did have some vulnerability to her, and I think that's why more girls related to her, because that's just a human thing. You know, yes, she was powerful and she was somebody that they could look up to, but she had vulnerability just like any human does. It doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman. You know, what makes Captain America so good, and what makes Tony Stark as Iron Man so good, is they also have a vulnerability to them. You have to have vulnerability in your heroes. Doesn't matter if they're a woman or a male superhero. But that wasn't the only thing that detracted this film for me. Another thing that detracted this film for me was the way they chose to reveal her origin story. They chose to go with a Bourne Identity type of reveal, which, while it worked for Bourne Identity, didn't work for her character, because in the Bourne Identity, they reveal who he is slowly to the audience in the actions that he does. You know, when he punches some guy or kills another dude with a pen, it makes you realize, oh, this guy was a badass, like he probably had some sort of really badass, like, special operations training or something like that, and you slowly get to know the character in that way, and it makes his character much cooler and and one that you like much more. But in the case of Captain Marvel, they revealed her past in a way where they did some sound clips and they did just some flashbacks, and when they would first show some of these flashbacks, it'd just kind of be really quick, where I guess they were trying to pique the audience's interest because they don't reveal a lot, and they're trying to get the audience, you know, to be like, oh, okay, what's her past, like, I'm interested. It just didn't come off that way. You know, it kind of came off as just a lame attempt to try to add an interesting element to the character, and it didn't really work. That being said, there were a few elements of the film that I liked. There was a few action scenes that I liked. There were a few moments of comedy that landed, and the relationship between Captain Marvel and Nick Fury was very believable and very well fleshed out. The banter between them was really great, and there was one action scene in particular with Captain Marvel. She has like these shackles on her hands and whatnot, these weird like alien shackles when she's on the Skrull ship, and she first starts off hitting a wall trying to get these shackles off, and when she realized they're not going to come off, she decides to use them as weapons and starts punching all these Skrull and whatnot, and it really makes for an interesting scene because of that added element. But that's really the only action in this movie that was interesting and that I was vested in. Overall, this movie was rather plain, rather vanilla, and was one that, well, I wouldn't mind seeing it again. It's not going to be a go-to Marvel movie, and because of that, I'm going to rate Captain Marvel background noise. This is a movie that, again, I wouldn't mind seeing, but other than that one, maybe two scenes that I mentioned, it's not a movie that I would go out of my way to see. That being said, it's a competently made movie, so it's not a movie that you shouldn't go see. If you want to see it, if you want to see a Marvel movie, then definitely watch it. Anyway, that concludes my review. Thank you for watching, guys. Please stay tuned for more content. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.